Hey guys, we are live. I am Steve from Cookout Coach. We're all about helping you take your barbecue to the next level no matter what you need. Tonight, we're going live, and I'm super excited because, as you know, we're picking an Akorn winner. Oh man, we are doing this tonight through Zoom, which is something I've never done before. So if something crazy happens, bear with me. But I think we're going to be pretty all right. So, hey, Scott's already in here. You know, I was kind of wondering if anybody's going to tune into this tonight. I've been doing a lot of lives recently, and we've got more people interested in it than I really thought I would. Now, I know some of that is the fact that we're all home for COVID, and that is what it is. But, you know, the fact that we can get together through lives or just whatever means, I'm all about it. So anytime I'm throwing down something and I've got a few minutes to set a camera up, I'd love to have you guys along with me. See, the barbecue gypsy's in the house. What's up, Lim? My buddy Lim. You're going to see some of his stuff on the channel here coming up soon. I've got some big ideas for some products that he has that I love them. They're delicious. The problem is I eat them, at least the last batch, before I ever got a chance to make a video with them. So we're going to correct that. We're going to try again. I'm going to try to restrain myself, and you're about to see some of the barbecue gypsies products on the channel. We got Zach Bauer there, the Fiery Red Podcast, John, Ron. Oh man, fair amount of people here tonight. There's Travis from my buddy from Golden Blue. He says he loves live videos. Wish he was home today. You know, Travis, I want to say thank you because if y'all don't know, my buddy Travis and his wife both work in the medical field. One directly, one is supplies people, but you know they're both helping keep the world turning right now as we all just try to get through this thing together. So thank you to you and your wife, Travis. I appreciate everything you're doing. Congrats on the 6. Hey, I appreciate it so much. 6,000 is a number that really in YouTube land, it's not that big. Let's be honest, it's not that big. But to me, it means a lot. You know, I put a fair amount of effort forth in this, and I try to turn out a good product, a good quality video to you guys. And I want it to be something that you'll enjoy because at the end of the day, you know, we try to teach YouTubers. A lot of us do different things. I try to teach and I try to help. But at the end of the day, I also know that, you know, if you get home and you sit down and you take the time to turn my video on, you're looking for some level of entertainment. So I hope what gets from me to the channel is something that you guys really enjoy. You know, I'm going to try to give you a little bit more about me in my videos, and that is, you know, my beliefs, things that I like, things that I don't like. A lot of it up to this point has been, you know, you can do it a bunch of different ways. And I'll still show you all the different ways you can do it. But it's been brought to my attention that some folks really want to know, how do I like to do things? And what are the specifics about my story and how I like to cook meat and how I like to prepare meat. And that's sort of been a little bit of what the recent live videos have been, is a little bit more raw look at, you know, this is what I'm doing and this is how I do it. Yeah, there are a bunch of different ways that you can do it, but I've got my own choices and, you know, I have my own preferences on smoker wood, for instance, right, Scott? You know, I love that hickory smoke, even though not everybody does, and you know, binders and injections, and so I'm just trying to show you a little bit more of that as we go forward. See, David Dick's in the house. You know, it's the other thing that I'm going to try to do a little bit more of going forward in this year is I want to show you a little bit more about what barbecue competitions are to me, because if you've been with the channel since the beginning, we started out with our goals as being a comp team. And I just kind of wanted to document what I do in competitions. But as time went on, our focus sort of shifted to teaching. Well, I think I finally figured out how to get back to that competition scene. And I kind of want to show you a little bit of what my competition experience is like and who my comp buddies are. And a lot of that revolves around the Mid-Atlantic Backyard Barbecue Association, the Mid-Atlantic Barbecue Association, and then us crazy backyarders that are in it. You know, we have a great time. It's what we do at barbecue competitions is what I hope everybody does at barbecue competitions. So we're going to do our best to bring you along. I'm going to point you to some other channels that are in that group as well that are going to be trying to do the same thing. And hopefully you can get a good look at what it's like to be on the inside. Man, everybody wants to do comps, but I don't know what to tell you. If you've never been to a competition, I always tell people it's kind of like going to a tailgate where everybody knows how to cook really, really good food. And just the atmosphere is always great. What I want to do here was I wanted to give folks a little bit of time in case you don't know what this is. This is our Char Griller Akorn live giveaway announcement. I put up a video 2 weeks ago announcing that we had hit 6,000 subscribers and that we're going to give away a Char Griller Akorn as celebration of that and as my appreciation to you guys for being here. And just in case there's some folks who didn't quite know that was going on, I wanted to give them a little bit of time. We're going to give them, I feel like we'll do the drawing somewhere between 6:30 and 6:45, depending on how the conversation is going. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and give you time, if you didn't know, to be entered to win this Char Griller Akorn. All you need to do is head over to the video that was posted 2 weeks ago. It's titled Char Griller Akorn Giveaway. Make sure you sub to the channel and leave a comment. I'm going to refresh the page where we'll pick the random comment right before I do it. So you've got time right now to go over and drop that comment if you haven't done it yet. And we're going to do this thing live. Stephen and Jacqueline, how's it going, folks? Man, YouTube is crazy. It's weird to reflect on a little bit that back in December of 2017, we started this thing. And I've got a lot of buddies who are just now getting into YouTube and starting, and they've got way better barbecue credentials than I do. I mean, they know their stuff way better than I do right now, and I'm hoping to get on their level. But YouTube is a tough grind. It's a different audience, and just because you've been a world champion or a contender or a team of the year, not everybody that watches YouTube knows that. So you've really got to figure out how to connect to people and deliver value to people. And that's something I really hope I'm doing with you guys. And if I'm not, if I'm ever missing something that you want me to cover, all my social media contacts are always in the descriptions of my videos. So make sure you reach out to me and we can talk about this and we can get through whatever I'm missing for you. But I'd love for you to tell me, just because, YouTube is a little bit of a personal connection with folks that watch, and I appreciate everybody taking the time out to do that. So if you can help me get better at that, I'd really appreciate it. See, also, any questions you have right now, go ahead and drop them in the comments. See, Dave Dix asking, Steve, do you make your own sauces for competition, or do you use a mixture of pre-made sauces? Feel free to tell me. It's none of my business. No, Dave, I definitely use pre-made sauces. Again, that sort of goes back to, I've got friends that are on a whole nother level than me that make sauces that come in bottles. I'm just going to tell you, Dave, I am a big believer in Blues Hog. Pretty much every Blues Hog product can be used in the competition. Now, what you do is you mix them together, you find your own rhythm with Gypsy in there. Lim's meat varnish is a sauce that could easily go into any mixture that I run. I wouldn't be quite brave enough to run a spicy, but I know comp guys who run spicy sauces, so don't let my downfalls hinder you. I mean, there's a ton of different options you can go with there. The Will It Smoke series, Travis. It wasn't until last night when we were doing that live over on QChat that I realized I haven't made an update to the Will It Smoke series. There's been the apple pie and there's been the coffee. What other food stuff do you guys want to see me try to smoke? Can't wait to do a brisket. Man, good luck, brother. I only cook about 1, maybe 2 briskets a year right now, just because it's an expensive meat is what it comes down to for me. It's not that I don't like it, but I like pulled pork just as much, if not more. And pulled pork is way cheaper. It's a little easier. I mean, I'm sure some of it's the fact that I've got my pulled pork down. I've got my comp pork down. I've cooked 1 brisket that I thought was really, really good backyard brisket. Everything else is still progressively getting better. And I should really take some more time to cook it. It's just, I'm a little cheap, to be honest with you. But, if beef brisket is your thing, the best advice I can give you for any meat really is get as many of them as you can and cook them. You know, baby, around here, I can get some choice stuff from Walmart's about the only option. Everything else I get is prime from Sam's, and really it's about the same price getting a prime from Sam's as it is from getting a choice from Walmart. So I mean, I'm looking at $70 a pop for a brisket, and it's just hard for me to decide to make that investment. But you know, I came into the whole barbecue thing. If you don't know my story, I started by chasing ribs. I was looking for ribs, and if ribs were, you know, that kind of price per pound as brisket is, I love ribs enough. I'd go after it. So if you love brisket like that, go after it. Hello from Boone, North Carolina. Looks a little warmer. You know, it is. It's nice here. It's sort of the perfect temperature. It's like mid to high 60s. So when I sit in the shade, it's a little cool. And in fact, if you caught me last night on Q Chat over with Jake Harshman from Harshman Barbecue and Dave from Shazamacue, I got a little chilly by the end of that one last night. But it's beautiful weather. I can't complain at all. It's simply fantastic here. How do you find competitions to attend? Gregory Brown, that's a fantastic question. So let me ask you this. Are you in the Mid-Atlantic region by chance? Because if you are, there's a little Facebook group called the Mid-Atlantic Backyard Barbecue Association. Somebody will correct me in the chat there. There's a couple of them in here where we help you out. We try to sort of gather all that information and square it all up. But if you're not, what you can do is you can go to the KCBS barbecue website, it's kcbs.us. Go to their find events, and there you can sort by, there's a drop down. You can select Master Series, you can select a whole bunch of things, but at the very top of the option list is Backyard Contest. And from there, you can sort by date, you can sort by location, you can sort within a radius of where you're at. So if you're not in our area where we have all that information aggregated for you, I'd go check the KCBS website or, you know, whatever barbecue sanctioning body you're looking to get into. Let's see. KCBS has sanctioned comps listed. Yep. Travis is already on top of that for me. I love this grill. You know, Max, I love the Akorn too. The Akorn is just so versatile. I can do anything on it. Blues Hogs is one of my favorites. I'm not surprised, Lim. You're pretty. You're the barbecue gypsy. You're well traveled. Fine powdered Worcestershire for your beef. Worcestershire. Yeah, no, that's a great way to add some of that umami flavor into. It's actually a good way to sneak MSG into your rubs, but it's MSG is one of those things that it's in there because it makes meat taste better. It sort of tricks your taste buds. So absolutely 100% on that on your beef rubs. 77 in Georgia. That sounds like a beautiful day. Pickles is here. What's up, Pickles? Charlie. Gregory Brown in Virginia. Yeah. Gregory, go look on Facebook for the Mid-Atlantic Backyard Barbecue, I think is the name of the group. You know, fill out the questions to invite, and we'll definitely help you out getting started in backyard barbecue, no doubt. There you go. Travis dropped it. Mid-Atlantic Backyard Barbecue. That's it. Emily, what's a lesson you learned from competing? That's a good question. I learned how to get my butt kicked a few times. But more than that, I've learned to streamline processes. So the very first contest we did, we loaded up 2 vehicles full of stuff, showed up, put it all out. And I realized I didn't need half of that stuff. Slowly, the more you do things, you'll start to realize there are things that you don't need. And really what I recommend to people is do a mock contest out in your driveway before you do anything, before you do an actual contest. Have a table set up, and as you use things, put it on that table. And when you're done, everything that's on that table is what needs to go with you. Everything that's not, better not come with you. So where we started with 2 vehicles, now we can take a bed of a pickup truck, I take a pop-up tent, 1 table, and cookers, a cooler full of food, and we're pretty much ready to go. Mise en place, I guess, is the thing there. MBN and FBA. Travis must be talking about other sanctioning bodies there. What's the longest time you were able to grill with the Akorn? So that's a great question. I'm not a big low and slow cook. but I am pretty sure in the early days of YouTube, I did a pork butt on there and I kept it at 225, and I rolled that thing for like 8 hours, but that's nothing. Like, man, if you loaded an Akorn down, I bet I could roll it 24 hours, no problem, at like 250. As long as the ash didn't choke it off. I bet we could do that. Maybe we'll try it someday. Let's see. Picks and Peaches here. Taking the family walk is beautiful. I bet it is. Have you tried Malcolm Reed's products from Killer Hog? I absolutely have. I tell people to this day, the barbecue rub is the prettiest rub that you'll ever use. You throw that on a rack of ribs and you come back 5 minutes later and they look good enough to eat already. It's amazing. I really like his vinegar sauces. His sauces are both good. His vinegar sauce is one of my favorite vinegar sauces. Tennessee Red's still my favorite from Blues Hog. Is still my favorite vinegar sauce, but his vinegar sauce is my second favorite. I don't think I've tried his steak rub, his AP, or his new Texas brisket. It's just, if you play in barbecue very much, you acquire too many rubs to begin with. So once I started narrowing down on what I liked for competitions, I sort of stopped testing. But yeah, Malcolm's stuff, what I've played with is fantastic, and I'm sure the rest of the stuff is amazing as well. Let's see. Great videos. Thank you very much. What do you prefer, beef or pork? So I think about this all the time. And the answer is this. For longer cooks, I prefer pork. So things like ribs and pork butts over things like briskets or shoulder quads or chuck roast, whatever. For hot and fast cooks, I prefer beef. So steak versus pork chops. That's pretty much where I come to with it. It's sort of a weird delineation, but I realized that one time and I was just like, yeah, it's kind of funny. If you could have a one-on-one class with any pitmaster, who would you pick and why? That's a great question, Travis. So, again, last night I got asked who I thought my barbecue mentors were, who I wanted to be like, and my answer was Chris Lilly. And I would still like, if I was just taking a class to learn how to barbecue, I'd like to go hang out with Chris Lilly. He's a very accomplished restaurateur and comp cook and everything, and he's just kind of laid back Southern. I dig that. He seems like a really cool guy. But if I was going to take one class and it had to do with competition cooking, the answer is Travis Clark, no doubt. That dude is just the most consistent competition cook like ever, in my opinion. We call Darren the GOAT. Darren's great. Darren's amazing. Darren still kills it all the time. But I was talking to one of my buddies not long ago, and I told him, if you told me there was a competition in the middle of the country right now and everybody was going to be there, my pick to win is Travis Clark all day long. Let's see. Yeah, the Withville comp is, if you're in the area, Withville, Virginia, and you want to play in competition barbecue, the Zombie Q is October 31st in Withville, Virginia, and it is a ton of fun. Absolutely check it out. Let's see, I'm just reading through these. Yeah, so if you had a problem with the Akorn with ash, which I don't know that you would, I don't think you would. You've actually got a very deep ash pan on the Akorn as opposed to normal Kamados. It's one of the benefits of it. But yeah, if you were having problems, I'd just take an ash tool that I have, and there's actually some room around the smoking stone, and you could get down in there and knock it around. But yeah, if you shook it a little bit, it would work as well. Let's see. So I have an Akorn I use all the time, but I have a hard time keeping the temp. It keeps going up. What is the right way to regulate? Yeah. So Max, I actually have a video specifically on this on the channel. I'd recommend you go check it out after this. But 100%, it is the key to regulating the temperature on the Akorn is to stop it before it gets too far. And I put in 8 lit charcoals at the beginning. I leave it wide open. I let it come up to 200 degrees. As soon as it gets to 200 degrees, I cut that bottom vent almost all the way off, and cut the top vent way back, like just barely more than the half moons, and it'll settle in at 250. And if I want any more than that, I use that top vent and I just barely move it, because yeah, it'll go up forever if you're not careful. You keep it super tight. If Travis could do one class, he'd pick Mo Case on. You know, Big Mo does seem like a fun guy. That guy's all over the world too. He's just seems like every time I look on Instagram, Mo is in Australia cooking barbecue, somewhere hunting, or somewhere fishing. And I dig that, man. Dude put in his time. He is now a barbecue celebrity, and he is reaping the rewards. He seems like one crazy hard worker. So, Big Mo, good for you, bud. Kent's here. Daddy Dutch, how's it going, buddy? Man, I saw your Phil video the other day, and I was sitting there watching that, and I heard you having a hard time with it, and I was sitting there watching it, and I was having a hard time with it. You're killing me over there, Dutch. Oh, jeez. What's your opinion on the Barbecue Hall of Fame nominations? Who would you add? Pickles, this year, I think the nominations are through the roof. They're crazy good. And if it were me, who would I add? Because that's a great list. I wouldn't add anybody to that list. The three that would get in, based on my opinion, Bill Arnold, because Blues Hog sauces changed the world. Bill's apparently had some rough times with some medical issues. So a guy that's been that influential in competition barbecue, I'd love to see him get in while he's, still doing well. John Marcus, because I swear everybody I talk to, they ask me my story, and my story goes something blah, blah, blah. I missed barbecue, didn't have any restaurants, blah, blah, blah. Watched Barbecue Pitmasters, decided I could make it. They instantly go, me too, I got in because I watched Barbecue Pitmasters. John Marcus set up this current generation of barbecuers. He definitely needs to be in there for pushing the relevancy of barbecue forward in our era. And lastly, Darren Worth, because, he's the GOAT. How can you not have the GOAT in the Barbecue Hall of Fame? Kent, you're with me on this, right? Iowa guys. Darren goes in. But it's great. You could make an argument for Aaron Franklin and Meathead, and there's a ton of guys on the list, but those are the three that I would do. Kent went to school with Big Mo's cousin. That's hilarious. Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, Mo's an Iowa guy too. What rub do you use on your brisket? I've used several different rubs. Most recently, what I've been going with is Heath Ryle's Everyday Rub, which is the salt, pepper, garlic kind of rub, and his beef rub. And then that's pretty much where I leave it. It's not a competition style brisket. It's a savory brisket. It's very good. Creates a nice crust on it. Some of that is the rub, some of that's not. But I've ran that the past several times. Been very happy with my briskets. Never watched Barbecue Pitmasters. Oh man, gotta watch some Barbecue Pitmasters. It's on. Kevin Worth going in. The winner hasn't been announced yet. We're going to announce the winner at 6:30. We will do that live. So if you haven't dropped your comment over on the Char Griller Akorn giveaway video, go subscribe and drop your comment. We're going to pick the winner in about 6 minutes. Looks like I finally caught up to you guys in the comments. Yeah, the Barbecue Hall of Fame is funny because where do you draw the line with it, right? They tried. I believe that the American Royal, since acquiring it, has tried to do a balance of competition guys, like popular figures and restaurateurs, and that's all great. But I don't know. It's a crazy difficult thing. I heard somebody say the other day, it might have been on All That for Six Pieces, the barbecue podcast hosted by Chris Schaefer from Heavy Smoke. Might have been Tim Shear talking about he wished that KCBS would have their own Hall of Fame. And that sort of makes sense because I have this conversation with people on the regular. Comp barbecue guys that are great if they weren't on Pitmasters, a lot of times people don't know who they are. So, you know, I know who Iowa Smoky D's is, and Kent knows who Iowa Smoky D's is, and probably most of this chat does. But if I go out into Walmart and start asking people, do you know who the pitmaster of Iowa Smoky D's is? Most people aren't going to know. But to us, he's the GOAT. So, it is its own thing. And I hate to take away from restaurateurs because, comp guys are big, or I hate to take away from comp guys because restaurateurs are big. It's a tricky situation. I don't know the right answers for it. Thinking about doing wings for the comps. That is a bold move, Dave. I've never ran wings for comps. I know that I've heard guys that are way better than me talk about it, and when they talk about it, they say wings are one of the things that it's either a home run and you knock it out of the park with it, and the judges love it, or you're at the bottom of the pile. So, it's funny because I have a hard time thinking about a wing in a competition barbecue sense because competition judges aren't going to be looking for that crispy skin. They're technically not even supposed to judge your skin, though, so I'm not sure how that would go. But when I think of wings, I think of hot wings, and I'd have to think about barbecue chicken wings. So it's different. It'd be fun to test it because it'd be a quick cook to test anyways. You should definitely give it a shot and, see what you like about it, see what you don't like about it. Doing the Malcolm French dip on the Akorn right now. I've cooked that recipe once before. It was fantastic, and that was back before I really knew what I was doing. So you'll love that recipe. I loved it. Do you take your ribs to a certain temperature, or do you go by meat pullback on the bones and feel? I don't go by pullback. I do go by feel. I am trying to test different temperatures. Right now, with no comps happening, a lot of testing is happening. So I temp my ribs constantly right now. And I'm trying to check temperatures to see at what temperature roughly am I getting the feel that I want. So ribs are a funny meat because they're all slightly different. And the temperatures won't always line up, but I always use it for a ballpark. So right now I'm doing both. In competitions, I always just did feel. I would take the temperature to know if I was in the ballpark. But right now I'm like putting a probe in and leaving it in ribs, which is very foreign to me. But when you're testing, you got to break or take out all the stops. Let's see. Can't wait for yeah, man. Drumstick lollipops. Yeah, Zach. You should do a video on that, man. I haven't seen you drop a video since I saw the Mountain Dew rib glaze last year. Maybe I've just missed them, but up here in Minnesota, people don't understand real barbecue except the local comp guys. Everything in restaurants is steamed and not freshly smoked. It's funny. I was talking about this last night. I'm pretty sure the barbecue that I fell in love with as a kid that I thought was fantastic, sweet, fall off the bone, slathered in sauce ribs. Pretty sure those were either steamed or like crock potted or something, but you got to start somewhere. It just makes it that much sweeter when you find the real good stuff. Doing wings for the first time this weekend. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to do wings for a video next. Let's see. What's my go-to rub? Pickles, that's a good one. What is my go-to rub? It's probably Heath Rowell's every day if I had to pick a rub that goes on everything more than anything else. But if I had to pick my favorite rub, and it's a bit over the top, but it goes fantastic on pork, is Heath Rowell's pecan rub. There's a lot of pecan rubs out there, and I don't like most of them, but Heath's pecan rub is crazy good. All right, guys. We are going to do this draw right now. So let me get set up, and I will share my screen with you. All right. Share screen. Share this one. All right. Hope you guys can see that. So we had 264 unique commenters on here. Remember, the rules were you had to comment, you had to be a subscriber, you had to live in the lower 48 states. So here we go. So exciting. Orlando Avalos. Hope I said that right. Congratulations, bud. You are the winner. Do me a favor and get in contact with me as soon as possible. Let me stop the share now. There we go. Orlando Avalos. Now, what were we talking about? Yeah, Orlando. Get in touch with me through whichever means you choose through the description on the video, and let me know. We'll get in touch with Char and we'll get your Akorn set up. I'm so excited that somebody won this thing, even though I knew I was giving it away. I don't know, it's cool. I've never got to give a grill away before. That's awesome. Where was I at? Uncle Woo's in the house. What's up, Uncle Woo? Uncle Woo is one of those guys, 2-time MBN Team of the Year. And that Smoke Masters rub is money. Let me tell you something about that Smoke Masters rub. That Smoke Masters rub, I'm pretty sure will become my go-to rub. And I haven't even used it on the thing I think it's most suited for yet. And that is, it goes on everything. I've ran it on ribs. It came out amazing. I think it would be absolutely incredible on chicken. I think it would be knock your socks off good on chicken. Let's see. I think I saw my buddy Kenneth in there. Jason, what's up, guys? Make my own rubs. Need to learn to make my own sauces yet. That's a great undertaking to have, just to understand flavors. You know, I've made a few sauces in my time, but there are so many different ways to do it. It's worth your time to figure it out, just because it enriches the hobby that much more. You know, I'm not one of those guys. Well, if you don't make your own sauce, you know, you're cheating, and what's the point? But I am one of those guys who appreciates somebody who can and who understands the process more than anything. Let's see. Steven Reichland's book. Steven Reichland's books are amazing for sure for getting down the whys of barbecue and the hows of barbecue. Do you inject your brisket? That is a great question, because the answer is no. But it's weirdly like one of the only things I've never injected. And the reason being, I think the only good reason I have for it is because I don't cook brisket that often. I just haven't taken the time to, when I get one, either buy the ingredients to make an injection or purchase an over-the-counter injection. Now, I've injected it with beef broth before, but to me, that's not quite the same. And the last time I did that, I still didn't know what I was doing, so I couldn't tell you if it was any better or worse because of it. I mean, that was on a brisket way back in the day. That was just terrible. It was one of those, you can see them in grocery stores sometimes. You'll get a little brisket flat like this big. It's already had all the fat cap removed from one side. That thing came out drier than anything because it just wasn't set up, because it was like this thin. It was bad choice on my behalf. Hey, Max, we just did the giveaway. Orlando won it. Thanks for being a part of it, though, bud. I appreciate it. So, guys, now that we've done the giveaway, I can hang out and keep chatting with you guys, or you know, we can call it. I'll let you guys decide based on what comments are here in the chat. I need to win so I can share stuff on NTBA. Gotta love NTBA. Ken is doing a heck of a job with that group over there. There's always something going down over on Facebook in the North Texas barbecue addicts. Your broth versus stock video is great. Yeah, Travis, that video came about just because I had made a video, and I'd like to keep videos coming out about every 2 weeks, and I usually do one recipe and one sort of how-to or basics or that kind of thing, informational video. And I got to thinking about it, and I was like, I bet a bunch of people don't actually know the difference between a stock and a broth, other than the sort of textbook definition of stock comes from boiling bones and broth comes from boiling meat and bones, or mostly meat, or whatever, however you want to interpret that. But I'd recommend to anybody who's watched that video or who's just wondered that, get a can of both or a little carton of both and sit down with a glass and try it so you can really taste the difference, because that's how it's going to stick in your head as to what the differences actually are. And as you become more knowledgeable about what those differences are, it really does influence your decisions on which one you'll use for recipes. Because can you use them interchangeably? Absolutely. There's not a ton of difference, but there is a difference. So for certain things, you may want a stock, and for other things, you may prefer a broth. Let's see, Alabama white sauce. What do you think? I am a fan of the idea of Alabama white sauce pickles. The problem I've had is anytime I make it according to other people's directions, I feel like it's too thin. I like it the way I like a Carolina sauce. I don't like it in the way that anytime I use a Carolina sauce, by the time I'm done eating whatever I'm eating, I've got a bowl full of vinegar, because I want more of that flavor to stay on the meat, and it doesn't. So I just keep hitting it. So I've actually got a video in the works. I haven't done it yet, but it's planned out for. Gonna let the cat back here. I'm gonna make savory Alabama white sauce ribs, because why not? But I'm gonna change up the Alabama white sauce to where it's just a little bit thicker, a little less of the vinegar, a little more of the mayo, horseradish, and we're gonna go from there. Done any peaches on the smoker? I never have, but I've always seen peaches on the grill, like something mascarpone. Essentially, it's a peaches dish with ice cream, and they grill off the peaches and put the ice cream in it, and it always looks fantastic. So we might have to do that. I've got a couple dessert videos on the channel, and now that the weather's getting better and that's kind of the fruit and stuff is going to come into season, we might have to knock out some peaches. Pickles. Fiery. Pickles is probably makes people a little bit nervous when you say something's fiery, given how much you like peppers and whatnot. But yeah, Alabama white sauce it's killer. It's very different. I haven't found that perfect ratio for me for making it the right consistency. Little Pig barbecue. I love smoking pineapple. Me too. I made a swine apple several years ago before I started recording stuff for YouTube, and that came out good. And there were some lessons learned on that. But man, anytime you can grill or smoke a pineapple, because you start pulling out the moisture. What happens that makes that good? And I may be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure I'm in the ballpark at least. Is anytime you start cooking out that water, and it starts concentrating that flavor. Then with fruit, you've got the benefit of you've already got sugar, and it's going to caramelize in there. So I mean, you've got this ultra concentrated, sugary. Oh, it's so good. It brings out the flavors like you wouldn't believe. Yeah, Charlie, it's an idea. It came to me the other day. People talk about savory ribs, and I've never had a rib I thought was savory, because all barbecue sauces are pretty much sweet. So I thought, if I'm going to make a savory rib, let's make a savory rib. So keep an eye out. It's going to happen. Do you think it's possible to keep the heat low enough in a Kamado-style grill to smoke cheese? Travis has to get out of it. Hey, Travis, appreciate you stopping by, bud. Yes, I do think it's possible to hold the heat low enough in a Kamado to smoke cheese, but I think you do it just with a smoke tube. Just use a pellet smoke tube as the heat and the smoke. It will be more than enough. And make sure your plate setter is in the way of the cheese. You probably have to play with it a little bit, because things are going to be different. that smoke tube is something that's really not going to burn that much more, given no matter how much air you give it. So I would open that top vent on that Kamado. I might close the bottom of it entirely and just open that top vent so the heat can escape, but it'll also keep that fire going. I think you can do it that way. I've never done it. That's just speculation, but that's how I would do it. Throw some slices in the bag, some fireballs. But I've never done the fireball pineapple. I've got some buddies who I know for sure have without even asking them because they're fireball fans. And actually, I might have seen the old barbecue gypsy post a picture of some fireball pineapple recently. But I've heard that's great. I've just never done it. I don't do a whole lot of cooking with whiskey. It's not exactly my thing. And I haven't tried it in a long time, but previously when I would do it, I would never cook the alcohol flavor out enough. But maybe I'll have to get back to trying that again. One of the best steaks I've ever had was actually a Dijon mustard bourbon marinated steak. And I'm not even one for marinating steaks very much, but that steak was absolutely killer. So maybe I'll go back and try to recreate that recipe again. There's the barbecue. Hey, barbecue gypsy, you ever make that fireball pineapple? Sure you have. Oh man, guys, I tell you what, I think we're gonna wrap it up right about here. Again, I appreciate everybody coming out for this giveaway, for being part of this giveaway, for being part of the channel. Everything I say right now is gonna sound cliche, but it's sometimes tough to keep going in YouTube. But the fact that you guys like what I'm doing, it makes it all worth it. We're gonna keep chugging along. We're going to keep, holding together during this crazy time. I'm probably going to go live more like I have been with the cooks just in the beginning. Hopefully some in the end. We'll do some, I've got the live befores down, right? We'll get the live afters done. And, we'll just make it happen. We'll stick together through this and we'll come out on the other side. Right before I go, Fire Red Podcast. Yes, I would use a water pan in my Akorn if I wanted to hold my Akorn temperatures below 250. That's the only way I know how to do it. I thought you did, Barbecue Gypsy. Thanks for being the coach. Appreciate it. Man, this has been a lot of fun. And I could probably sit here until you guys kick me out of my own YouTube channel. But once again, thank you so much. I appreciate that y'all take the time to watch. If there's anything you ever want to see me do, drop me a line somehow through one of the social medias. And hey, till next time, y'all take it easy.